What's up, Josh Douglas here. Thank you for joining my live stream here on the YouTubes via webcam coming at you. I am going to talk today about how this is the last and final day in order, or on which, sorry, the wrong preposition there, on which you can get pre-order perks for ordering Love and First Sight. Though this is not a final copy. As you may know, the final copy looks significantly different than that. I only had one copy of it, and I sent it to someone yesterday who won a contest on the internet. So all I have now is an advanced reader copy until I get my next copy from a publisher, which hopefully will be really soon. So I'll get back to this in a moment, but we have a question posed to us already before the video even started. Thank you, Josh Wood, for posing a question. If you have more questions anytime while I'm talking, please post them here so that I have things to say, because otherwise live streams are, I don't know what you say. So Josh Wood asks, what is your favorite part of being a part of the disability community? I have cerebral palsy, and I love the fact that I can somewhat understand other disability people because I have a disability. Yeah, well, so what's my favorite part of being in the disability community? The parking's pretty good. That comes to mind. I mean, I don't know. That's a favorite part of having a disability per se. I don't know about the part about being in the disability community. I don't find it to be a significantly different community than any other community. In that, yeah, like when I meet a person who has a disability, or I have friends who do. Obviously, we have something in common. But probably any community that you're a part of, right? Whether it's a hobby that you're interested in, or the YouTube community, like you have things in common with those people. I suppose maybe what's different about the YouTube community is that it's not like a hobby where you go out and like choose, this is something I'm interested in. It's something probably that happened to you outside of your choice, that you acquired a disability, and in that sense, it's perhaps like a more fundamental part and a more maybe significant part of your day, or like your life on a day-to-day basis. So in that sense, yeah, there might be sort of a deeper bond that you have with other people who have disabilities. So yeah, interesting question from Josh Wood. So anyway, back to the perks. Okay, so this is, like I said, the last day. Today is the last day that you can get pre-order perks. I should back up and tell you just what the book is. Probably, if you're watching this video right now, hopefully you've heard about the book. You guys know about the book, right? Yeah, hopefully. I'm going to just complain for a second about YouTube's live stream capabilities. Facebook is so much better, guys. Like, there's such a latency, like such a delay between like when I say something and when you see it. And then therefore there's a further delay before you type something before it comes onto my screen, which makes it difficult for this to feel like a real life conversation, like, because there's these pauses. Like if I ask you a question right now, it's like I'm gonna get the answer in 10 seconds. So it's like you have to ask a question and then fill in the time until the answer. Like if I was like, so what did you guys have for, let's test this. All right, I'm gonna time it and see how long it takes for questions to be answered. All right, hold on. Clock. See if I have a stopwatch on here. All right, so I have a stopwatch. All right, so starting at 0, I'm going to say, hello, viewers, what did you have for breakfast today? All right, starting the clock. And now I have to wait and fill in time. Right now I could be like, what did I have for breakfast today? I had lentil soup. It was leftover lentil soup that Ashley made last night, and I put cheese on it. Boom. Eggs was the first answer. 14 seconds. Lemon candies, toast, nothing, and Schrodinger's cat is back. Schrodinger's cat, thanks for watching a really long live stream the other day. So 14 seconds, and now a bunch of you answered. Cool. But see how long that latency was? So it makes it difficult for like us to have a real-time conversation, because it takes so long before like you see what I said and then you comment and then I see your comments. Anyway, that's a side note. As I was saying, hopefully, yeah, I know, go to Facebook. I've done several Facebook live streams this week. Hopefully you saw some of them. But I do really like it. Yeah, Simply Sarah seems to not be able to see. Hopefully you can see me now. I think other people can see me. Anyway, so yeah, I keep getting sidetracked on my rants about live streams. So you probably know about the book. If you don't, it's my first novel. It's a story about a teenager who is blind from birth, and he has an experimental operation to get sight for the first time. And when he does, he discovers that his friends have been keeping a secret about the visual world from him. So then what was the secret they were keeping, and what happens, and should they have kept a secret from him? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Boom. Those are the questions that will be answered in the book. So the main thing I want to say is that I really hope that you guys pre-order it. I try to very rarely ask you to do anything with your money. And the vast majority of the stuff that I post online obviously is free. In fact, pretty much everything. I can't think of anything that I post online that's not free, like content to consume. But well, for the past 2 years, every 2 years, I've written a book, and I do ask you, please, to consider, if you have the money, pre-ordering it, because I would really like to order, or I would really like to write more books. But to do so, I really need people to buy this book. In other words, like, whether or not I can be published in the future is entirely contingent on whether or not this book is successful, like commercially successful in the view of my publisher, if that makes sense. So please, if you can, pre-order a copy. Now, you can pre-order anytime. Of course, you can also buy it when it comes out. The reason that I'm saying pre-order today is because, as a thank you, if you want to pre-order, I've had a perks campaign that's been going for about a week now. It ends today. So this is like the last time today you can pre-order, which you can do if you go to loveandfirstsight.com. I probably should have put that in the underbar. Oh, no, it is in the underbar. Loveandfirstsight.com, it's in the underbar. Okay, yeah, so Majo asks, what's the difference between pre-ordering and buying it after it comes out? The only difference is, I mean, there's no difference. It's just that, like, if you order it now, you get it when it comes out. Is that what you mean? Like, so you can pre-order on audible.com if you like audiobooks. You can pre-order on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com. You can also, it doesn't have to be just online. You can, I'll get back to the perks in a second, Majo. You can pre-order in a bookstore. Like, you could go to your favorite local bookstore, an Indie or a Barnes and Noble or Books A Million, and you could pre-order it and get a receipt, and then you can still get the perks. Does that make sense? I mean, you don't have to keep a receipt, but just if you want the perks, you have to be able to upload a receipt. So so the only difference is that's just that you don't, then you get the book when it comes out. But pre-ordering is important from a commercial standpoint, because those are sales that happen in the first week. And similar to movies, a large part of the success or perceived momentum in terms of commercial success of a book is based on how it sells in the first week, which is why you always hear authors asking you to pre-order. It's just because it's a significant barometer that publishers and bookstores use. Like, bookstores decide if they want to keep the books in stock, right? Like, Barnes and Noble might order X number of copies of my book and carry it in Barnes and Noble, but if the book does really poorly, they don't keep them. In fact, they purchase. All bookstores have returnable books, so they could order 10,000 books. And then if they decide they aren't selling well, they could send all 10,000 back to the publisher and get a refund from the publisher. So it's important that, like, when Barnes & Noble carries your book, that people go in and buy it. And likewise on the website, right? Because, like, they have it in their warehouse, and Amazon has it in their warehouse. Similarly, they can return those copies if they are purchased by consumers. And yes, Minty, I don't know how long this live stream is going to be. We'll see how many questions there are. And Schrodinger's cat, yes, if you should have said that too. If you pre-order on any e-reading device, like literally anything, you can pre-order however, any way you want, and you can still get perks. So yeah, on a Kindle, on an iBooks, whatever. You just take a screenshot of, like, your order confirmation and upload it at loveandfirstsight.com, and boom, you'll get the perks. Now, what the perks are, you might already know this if you've gone to the website, but if not, I'm going to explain the perks to you. Okay, so if you pre-order one copy of the book, you will get it's semi-instant. It depends. So when you upload the pre-order form on the website, it goes as an email to Lisa, my assistant. So depending on when she checks her email, you might hear back, like, semi-immediately, or you might hear back, you know, the day after Christmas, like, or Monday or Tuesday or whatever. So it could be, it'll be really soon. It'll be like way before the book comes out. That's the thing, because that's why I try to give away perks for pre-orders, because I know it's, like, really annoying to, like, order something and then have to know you're gonna wait like 2 more weeks before you actually have the thing. And so I like to do perks, so it's like you get a reward, like a semi-instant thing that you get in exchange for pre-ordering. So the first thing you get is a video, an unlisted video of me reading the whole first chapter of the book. So you get like some experience of the book right away. It is a video that's like 43 minutes long because I frequently stop to explain things or provide my opinions about like edits that were made, you know, like later that weren't part of the original book. Uh, so it's a very like long and meandering reading, but hopefully you will enjoy it. The comments on it, the feedback has been really great, that people have enjoyed watching it, which is awesome. And I hope that you enjoy reading the rest of the book. So that's perk number one, is a video, an unlisted video that's here on my YouTube channel, where you can watch me read the whole first chapter of the book. Perk number two is an ebook that you will get, which is well, like the cover looks like this. I drew it, which it was like, in my mind, it's kind of funny and meta because it's like an ebook, but then the cover is just a Sharpie on a notepad. I don't know. Probably I just thought that was funny. But so it's okay. So yeah, it's unpublished short stories. So what this is a lot of people have been asking me, Josh, are you going to write future novels? If so, have you thought about ideas for them? Like, as I said, yes, I'd love to write future novels, assuming that I can get them published, which is based on probably how Love and First Sight is responded to by the marketplace and by you. As to ideas, yeah, I have tons of ideas of things I want to write, and I've sort of messed with a few of them. So basically, that's what unpublished short stories, the ebook, is. There's 3 stories in there, and they're all basically setups for novels, like full novels. So like 2 of them are more short. They're like 20 to 25 pages, and they're sort of like, you know, maybe you would consider that probably the first 3 chapters of a novel, and then one of it's probably about half a novel. It's probably, yeah, it's like probably about 100 pages. It's really more like a novella rather than a short story. And in total, then the ebook. Oh hey, what's up? Nice sunglasses. Are those new?
Yeah, I just got them.
Wow. You
You
see
like them?
her mirror sunglasses?
What do you think, internet?
Look, they can see themselves. Like this is live. This is like the latency of like what people are seeing. Did you go to yoga?
No, I went to spin. Yeah, I was so late to yoga.
What spin?
Just a spin cycle house.
Oh yeah.
I just passed it and I went in.
Oh, is it?
It's really hard.
Oh yeah.
Really hard. I've been eating a lot of cookies. Internet.
Cool.
How's it going? Are you guys talking about the book?
Yep, just talking about perks.
Okay. Get those perks, guys.
Thanks for the shout out. Cool, yo, I'm all packed.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're going to Hawaii today, in like a couple hours. Majo, great throwback line, all together on 3. That's good. That's a classic. That's a classic from videos about our early relationship. Anyway, where were we? It seems like everyone's very excited to have Ashley on screen, and probably this video should just be her standing here showing us her sunglasses, because it seems like you guys are pretty excited about that. So the ebook, it's basically then the setups, you know, like setup kind of stories for like 2 novel concepts. Like it's all fiction, to be clear. This is like fiction, made up stories. And then one of them is like a novella. So it's like probably half of a shorter novel, maybe a third of like a really long novel. So anyway, those are all like concepts that I'm kind of interested in, and I'm not sure how good they are. So anyway, one of the main reasons I wanted to release this was because I'm really curious if you guys read it, and I'd just be curious of like your feedback. If you're like on one of them, when you read one of them, you're like, whoa, this one has to become a novel. I must know what happens to the characters next. Tell me that on you know, on Twitter or on Instagram private message, or Tumblr, if you're still on Tumblr, send me a Tumblr message or whatever, because I'd be really, really interested in your feedback on that. So that's a perk that you will get again, like almost immediately, which is cool because you can have stuff to read between now and when the book comes out. It's like 180 pages, so it's like a pretty substantial amount of like bonus reading that you get, and it is an ebook you can read on literally anything. Like you'll get a link that will allow you to download it in any format, so you could read it on a Kindle, on, you know, I don't know, like whatever you have, a Nook or an iPad, but you can also download it and read it in like a reading app. So like on your phone in the Kindle app, or on your phone in iBooks, or on your computer, like on your laptop if you like to read books on your computer, which I don't think anyone does, but just in case. So you can read it on any format. You'll get it pretty soon for just pre-ordering one book. Previously, it was more. Previously, I had it at like you had to order 2 books to get the ebook, but then today I was like, actually, I kind of want people to read the ebook because I'm really interested in getting their feedback on these stories. So then I lowered it to 1 book. And if you've previously ordered 1 book, pre-ordered that is, you'll still get the ebook in the next couple of days. But if you haven't, you can sign up again. So that's the first perk level is 1 pre-order gets you the ebook and of unpublished short stories, as well as the video of me reading the first chapter. Mary, how much does it cost? It depends on where you buy it, but like most websites, like I think the cheapest is probably Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. It's about $10, or just over $10, maybe like $10.07. Sometimes the price fluctuates, so I don't know like what the price is exactly today, but probably about $10. And then the audiobook, of course, is a little bit more. And to be honest, I'm not sure what the ebook it costs. If any of you guys know, tell me in the comments. But I'm guessing $10 also, but I don't know. I haven't looked. Cool. All right. So that is yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's cheaper because it's a YA book, like it's like YA books, which stands for young adult, are typically a little cheaper. Like a hardcover adult trade book might be $28 to $30. A YA hardcover usually is like $18, and then when you buy it online, it's even cheaper. Yeah, so I could be, okay, Mike has looked it up for us. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so it's $11.44, so it's wrong. It is $1.30 more than I thought. $11.44 for hardcover, and the ebook is $9.99. Cool. Schwinger's Cat says on Amazon UK, it's only $5 for the ebook. That's an amazing deal. And I'm really pleasantly surprised that it's available in the UK. Usually like my books, if they're published by a North American publisher, are not distributed like at all in the UK. And it's super annoying for people who want to get it there because it's like it's the same language. Like why are we not publishing it in like another like country where English is the main language? That seems, but it's like all these rights issues, right? Or like a country has to buy the rights. So anyway, I'm really glad that it's available in the UK and that it's only £5. Did I say $5? I apologize. Which is yeah, so £5 would be still a little bit cheaper than the price here in the US for $10, I think. Anyway, those enough about prices. There's another perk level. So I talked about 1 level. The second one is if you buy 2 books. So that would be like you probably wouldn't buy 2 ebooks, but you could buy like an ebook and a hardcover, or an audio book and an ebook. If you like to like listen and read or whatever, or you could buy like two real books, physical books, and give 1 to someone else. Whatever you want. If you buy 2 books, so that's going to cost between $20 and $23, depending on which edition you buy. Then you get a higher level perk. So you get the other 2 perks. You get the ebook. You get the video of me reading the first chapter, but you also get 2 like personalized perks, right? So the other ones are like electronic perks that you get emailed and they're for you, but they're for like everyone. If you order 2, you get like things that are personalized for you. They are, number 1, I will draw a Venn diagram about you. It will look kind of like this. Like it will have like maybe like one of your interests or hobbies or characteristics here, and then another one here, and then your name will be here. So if you like my Math Nerds videos, this is like, blank for Math Nerds. It's like your name for Math Nerds. Does that make sense? So I'll draw that for you and I can email it to you or tweet it to you, however you like to receive images. And that will be 1 that you'll get. Number 2, and perhaps more significantly, I will make a personal vlog for you, and I will post it as unlisted here on my YouTube channel. So it's unlisted, so it won't like publish to subscribers, but it will be like on this channel, and I will give you the link, and it will be a video where it's about anything you want. Like Lisa will email you and you can like ask whatever you want me to talk about. I can answer a question if you have a question about something, or you want my opinion about something or my advice about something, or you want like just a shout out for yourself or comments on your hobbies, or a shout out for someone else if you want to get it for someone else. That's the personal blog. So if you order 2 copies or more if you want more. You get both the personal vlog and the Venn diagram, and you get like the level 1 perks, the video of me reading the first chapter, and the ebook of unpublished short stories, like 108 pages long, to give you something to read until the book actually comes out, Love at First Sight, January 3rd. Cool. All right, so that is a pretty thorough, I think, explanation of the perks. So hopefully you are now very well informed of them and you understand them, and hopefully you are interested in getting them, because I would love for you to have the perks. I think that they're cool. So now I will move on to answering just whatever questions you guys want to ask about the book or about anything in general. Cool. Kira asks, I bought a book, collected my perks, so I only got the first one, which was okay, good question. So Kira asks, looks like, I don't know if you're a guy or a girl, they got one book, so they got like the video of the first chapter. So up until this morning, you had to buy 2 books in order to get the ebook. But then this morning I woke up and I was like, actually, I want like more people to read the ebook because I want feedback from people. So then I lowered the level just this morning. So you don't need to do anything. You'll automatically get an email with a link to get the ebook this week if you've already ordered the perk. But just like if you've already ordered one book, does that make sense? It will come to you, but just in a couple days, because that was just like a really recent decision. Cool. All right. Mao asks, or Majo, I'm sorry. Yeah, I haven't figured out yet. Tell me, is it, maybe you can write out a phonetic pronunciation for me? Is it Majo or Maho? Asks, what is the process for cover art? It is a long and complicated and interesting one. So this, so the reason we went through a lot of iterations, and the reason this is significantly different than the final design, usually by the time you get to this is an advanced reader copy, or called ARC sometimes. Usually by this time you would have cover art completed. The reason we didn't is because there was like a different title earlier. Like it went through a number of titles. Originally, like when I first wrote it and submitted, it was called, what was it called? And, The Eye of the Beholder. The Eye of the Beholder. And then it changed. My publisher wanted it to be a quote from the book, which was "Sunrises get all the hype." And so then we had this cover that was pretty cool, like sunrise. It was like a bunch of Skittles that were like arranged in sunrise formation, and then "Sunrises get all the hype" was kind of written in them. The reason being that Skittles play an important part in the book when you read it. But then the publisher felt like that title didn't like convey enough about what the book was actually about. So then we were looking for new titles, and that's when I suggested this title, Love at First Sight. And everyone was like, oh, that's a great one. And I think it's a cool title. I mean, not to just brag about how good I am at making titles, but like, because it does tell you what the book is about. It is literally about love and about first sight. And then it's also like obviously a play on words for Love at First Sight. So that's how we came up with the title. But then to answer your actual question about the cover, so then once we had that title, then they like hired a couple artists to come up with concepts, and we went through like a lot of different concepts that there's none that no one liked, or there was none that everyone liked, which is to say, like kind of like the publishing team that I work with at my house, and my publishing house, and like my agent, and then the sales team at my publishing house, and also then buyers like Barnes. Usually they'll consult with like Barnes and Noble to be like, do you guys like this cover? Like, would you sell this book? And then also they consult with me. So then nobody really liked any of the concepts. So finally we hired this guy called Lee Crutchley, who was the guy who designed the cover for We Should Hang Out Sometime. You can follow him on Instagram. He's awesome. And then he made a design just like everybody was like, yes, we love this design. But yeah, it took a long time. It was pretty expensive because my publisher ended up hiring a number of different artists, but it's totally worth getting right. I mean, you guys know, like, we say don't judge a book by its cover, but we mean that metaphorically. Like, people with books, you actually do judge them by its cover. Everyone does. That's just how it's. I mean, it's the first thing that, like, when you're walking in a bookstore, when you see a book, the cover needs to instantly convey to you the genre of the book. Like, you need to be able to look at it and be like, oh, that is contemporary realistic YA, which mine is, with probably like a love story. Like, there's a very specific look in the bookstore for those kinds of books. If you think about it, or like look at books, you'll see like, this is the way contemporary realistic YA with a love story always looks. It always has these elements in it. Similarly, like I don't know, YA dystopian, very specific look. Like I don't know, like the sort of supermarket romance novels, very specific look. Like so-called chick lit, specific look, right? So there's like really specific looks for each kind, and then so to me, a cover, it's really really essential that it conveys that genre cue so that the right people pick it up, you know, so that the people who would want to read that don't miss it because they didn't realize that that was their genre. And then also that but it does something a little new, like a little twist on the general conventions of that cover for that genre. So it's also sort of fresh. Does that make sense? And which is no different than the inside of a book, right? To write for a specific genre, you have to hit a couple things that establish what genre you're in, but you don't want it to be like all exactly things people have seen before, right? So because then it's cliche. So it's like you have to do some similarities to what's come before, so it can be established and identified as part of a genre, but then also like new things that are fresh and haven't been done before, so that people are getting a new story. That's a really long answer to your question about how we came up with the cover. But yeah, the cover was designed by Lee, and one thing people are always surprised about is that like authors don't have final say on a cover. Not even close. Nor do I have final say on the title. Like I didn't name Just Don't Fall. I was never like a huge fan of the name. It's okay. And I didn't really like the cover design of like the hardcover of Just Don't Fall. Actually, I was pretty against it, but the publisher really liked it, and yeah, like it's their legal right to choose like the title and the cover design. So we're fortunate that we ended up with the title and a cover that like everyone likes, everyone who's on the team, and hopefully you like it too. That is, you who might buy it and might read it, because really, your opinion is actually the most important one, even though you aren't really consulted until it's in the bookstore, which is kind of a weird thing about publishing, that there's not really like focus groups about any decisions, like about what cover design people like. It's all just guessing, and then we print thousands of them, and it's just like, we'll see if people like it. So yeah, it's a strange industry like that. Cool. Sorry, that was a really long answer. I'm so bad at answering questions concisely. I try to do it, but usually fail, as I did there. So, okay, cool. So Mike says, have a fun trip in Hawaii. Hope it's fun and relaxing. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I hope so too. Sophia, what's it about? Is it similar to your first two books? No, it's totally different in that my first two books were memoirs, and add more questions if you have them, because otherwise we will run out soon. It's totally different than my first two books, Just Don't Fall and We Should Hang Out Sometime. They were both memoirs, so they were about me. They were nonfiction stories from my life. This, Love at First Sight, is a novel, so it's fiction. It's not about me. These are all imaginary characters and imaginary people. It is a book of lies. It is all made up. It is a fictional story. So in that sense, it is very, very different. And I mentioned sort of the one-sentence description earlier, but I will do so again for people who just joined us. Love at First Sight is about a teenager who's born blind. Well, he was born, you know, like now that he's a teenager, that's a terrible phrasing. A teenager who was born, yeah, he wasn't born a teenager. To be clear, he was born as a baby, at which time he was blind, and then he became a teenager over a period of 16 years. And at that time, he has like an experimental operation that gives him sight for the first time. And when he starts to be able to see and understand the visual world, he finds out that his friends have been keeping a secret about the visual world from him. So then it's about what ensues from there. But of course, it's also about like visual perception and the way we see the world, and the way that sight is not as intuitive as we imagine it to be. It's actually very hard to learn how to see. And the reason we don't realize that is because we did that when we were babies. Like we went through that process for the first year or two of our lives before we had language to describe it, or had language to encode it as memories, right? It was before we could encode memories in a way that we can retrieve them now. So we don't remember how hard it was for us to learn how to see. For someone who gains sight for the first time later in life, obviously they are cognizant of that and aware of that and can describe it to you in language. So it's about that process for Will, because it's pretty tough for him, and that's a real thing. This happens every once in a while, that there will be like an adult who due to sort of fortunate circumstances, is there's a medical intervention that could give them sight for the first time. And of course, you think it's going to be great, like a blind person seeing. It's kind of like an archetype, like the blind person sees, and you're like, wow, this is great. But in fact, it's actually super, super difficult, and pretty much everybody that this is who has gone through this, who has gained sight for the first time, for almost everybody, has it's turned out horribly. Like they get super depressed, they commit suicide, they reblind themselves. It's really, really horrific and really sad. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, it's counterintuitive, but that's kind of what the book explores, is how hard it would be for your brain to process visual information for the first time if you weren't used to receiving it. So that is what the book is about. Thank you for asking that. As to Extraordinary Beings question, where can I get your book? Go to 11firstsight.com. The link is underneath this video, and all the information is there about the perks, how to get the perks, and about it has actually all the links to pretty much anywhere you can get it online, all the normal sites, Audible, iTunes, but also like BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com, and then you could also go to any bookstore and pre-order it. Once it comes out on January 3rd, it should be in any bookstore. Right now, it's not because it hasn't come out yet, but you could still pre-order it in a bookstore if you wanted to do so to get the perks today, because it's the last day when you can get them. Cool. Thank you for the hearts, Extraordinary Being. Tay123 says, when is the soonest it will be available in bookstores? It comes out January 23rd, January 3rd. That's a Tuesday. So technically it should be January 3rd would be the soonest it would be available in bookstores. And sometimes bookstores, other than like a Harry Potter where it's like everyone's waiting and knows the day it's going to come out, bookstores a lot of times aren't. There's no reason for them to really hold it until a certain day. So basically, they'll put it out when they get the shipment. So for some bookstores, it might come out the next day, or some bookstores they might get the shipment like a week before, and they won't hold it in the back room. Like they'll go out and put it out on the shelves. So if you're lucky, it might be out slightly before January 3rd at your bookstore. It's hard to say, but that's the release date, officially January 23rd. Dakota asks, going off topic a little, who are your biggest YouTube inspirations, and do you have any channels you watch religiously? Religiously, yes. My biggest inspirations, well, like obviously the Vlogbrothers are both my biggest like YouTube inspirations and life inspirations. And then as far as watching religiously, I got things I've been into really recently, but that have now ended, were Rhett and Link's show on YouTube Red, The Buddy System. I don't know if you guys have YouTube Red or if you watched it, but it's so funny. Those guys are so funny. It's just, I love that show. So it's disappointing that series reached its conclusion, but you can still watch it if you have YouTube Red. And then also Casey Neistat's vlogs, I was really, really into. And like it was like right after I got into them, he's like, yeah, the vlog's over. No, that's totally fine, and I understand his reasons for doing so, and that's totally his choice. But that was something I was really into, and then it ended. Fortunately, he's still publishing some stuff, and he still publishes really often. It's just a different format than like the daily vlog used to be. Next question. It's hard to scroll through these questions on YouTube. Karishma asks, how much research did you do for Love and Sight? A lot. I researched probably like full time for like 3 months. Mostly I did a lot of reading of like pretty much any memoir that was written by a person who was blind or visually impaired, read them all, and then emailed some of the authors afterwards. I try not to, people always like, did you interview a bunch of blind people? I don't really like to go like interview people, mostly because a lot of times people come to me and they're like, I want to interview you for, this project that I'm doing. But then like their so-called interview is like, what day were you born? What kind of cancer did you have? Which is fine, but it's like, that stuff's on Wikipedia. Like you could at least, or it's on my webpage, like at least read my bio and don't ask me like those questions. Ask me questions that you still have after reading that. And so anyway, it's, which totally it's fine, but I didn't want to be that person to other people. So before I talked to any like blind person, I read everything that they'd ever written. Like if they had 5 books, I read all 5 books before I emailed. So that way I could, like, if I did have questions after that, which I didn't always, if I did, they were clearly questions that were coming from a place of like, I have read all of the content that you've created. Like I've done that service to you. because you put a lot of time and effort into writing your books, and so like I want to honor that by reading them before I would reach out to you. So yeah, I did that, and then I read a lot of like medical stuff, like medical journals, where they were talking about like the neurology of blindness, or the like case studies of people who had been blind and had gained sight through some kind of surgical intervention. Read a lot of that stuff, and then just tried to like consume popular literature as well. So popular books where a character is blind, any major movie where a character is blind, watched all that, just so I had an idea of like, here's what our popular consciousness, like in terms of like pop entertainment, views blind people as, and also like here's what's been done before in terms of stories about people who are blind, so that I could be kind of, again, like aware of what's happened, so that I could know what would be like a new or fresh story compared to that. So yeah, it was about 3 months of research before I started like actually writing the book. So it was a ton, but that was like what attracted me to the story, because these are things that were really fascinating to me, like perception and the neurology behind how we how we process sensory input. Like that stuff's super fascinating to me. And so the research was like really fun and interesting to me. Claire asks, what are the perks? I covered them in detail earlier, but I'll just mention quickly. The perks are, if you pre-order one copy of the book today, well, today is like the last day you can do so, you will get a unlisted video of me reading the whole first chapter of Love at First Sight. It's about 45 minutes long, the video, and you will get an ebook that is unpublished fiction that I've written. It's 3 short stories. It's 180 pages long. So you will get both of those things pretty soon, in the next couple of days or maybe hours, depending on when Lisa checks her email. And then you will have something to keep you occupied while you wait for the book to come out January 3rd. A 45-minute video and a 180-page ebook of other like fiction, of short stories, like kind of unfinished novels, or like the start of novels that I might finish someday, that I've written before. If you pre-order 2 books or more, you get a Venn diagram that I will draw about you, and I will make a personal vlog for you, discussing or whatever you want, or answering any questions that you want. Disabled at Your Disability says, congrats, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Yes, can't wait to read it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Justin asks, will there be notes in the book like we should hang out sometime? I really like the look and feel. By notes, I assume you mean like the charts and graphs that are in We Should Hang Out Sometime. Well, unfortunately, the answer is no, not because I don't like charts and graphs, but because like the protagonist, the main character, is totally blind, like from birth. So he has no, like he would not be good at drawing, because he can't, it's like, the vast majority of blind people have some sight. If nothing else, maybe they can perceive light and dark. And if you have some sight, that totally changes the way your brain develops and allows you to at least kind of conceptualize and imagine what visual things look like. If you've never had any sight whatsoever, you wouldn't even know a visual thought if you had one, which makes it impossible really for Will, the protagonist, to be able to write like written text, or to draw kind of in the well, he would never be able to draw a graph, nor would he be able to imagine a graph and then draw it, right? Because that's beyond, it's just not how his brain thinks. It's like, it would be like for you trying to imagine a color that doesn't exist. Like what would the color look like if it was a new color? It's impossible. You can't, it's like a thought you literally cannot generate. That's how it would be for Will if he was trying to generate a graph or a chart. It would be, he couldn't do it. So there's no like drawings in the text, because he's the narrator of the book. So it wouldn't make sense, I guess, if that makes sense. Cool. Dakota got YouTube Red to watch the buddy system. Good choice. Then we have something in another language. I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe Portuguese. I'm just guessing, because I have a lot of you all joined recently, thanks to the video that I did with Fred and Maro when I was in England. Sammy says, so excited to use some Christmas money to order this book. Nelly says, are you a Christian? I would say yes, although that broad religious terms like that obviously mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Schrodinger's asks, why did you decide to focus on a character who's blind from birth? Well, that's a good question. not because I particularly wanted to. It wasn't that I wanted to write about a character who was blind per se, nor did I want to write about disability per se. Although, being that I have a disability, I know that people are going to be like, "Oh, of course, Josh would write a disability book," like, and that's fine. But actually, my goal was to write a book about not about not about like how people who can't, not about like I said this the other day, so I'll say it again. It's like my goal was not to change the way you think about people who can't see, but to change the way you think about how you do see. Does that make sense? Not like the goal is not to change the way that you think about people who can't see, it's to change the way you think about how you do see. So like I wanted to like blindness is, you know, thinking about blindness is the best way for you to understand your own sight and to think about the perceptions that you do have and the sights that you take for granted. Not like, oh, it's so beautiful, but just the way that we all take our sense of sight for granted if we're sighted people. So in that sense, yeah, the goal was not, oh, I really want to write about a blind guy per se. It was like I really want to write about a person seeing, and they would need to not be a baby so that they could articulate what it's like to see for the first time. And there's sort of, like I said, a twist, like a secret that's been kept from Will that he finds out when he has sight, and then again he just like he narratively he needed to be blind and then gain sight in order for that story to work. So it was more like the story that I wanted to tell rather than a particular disability that I wanted to explore, if that makes any sense. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, Yopo asks, how did you choose the names for your characters? I'm glad you asked. Oh, Danny. Yeah, thank you for leaving your name after that. How did you choose the names for your characters? I'm glad you asked that. There's a really specific way that I did. And it's kind of an Easter egg, and I'm not sure if anyone's gonna pick up on it, but if you do, then you'll instantly be like, oh, like I see what all the characters' names are. So for the 17 of you who are watching right now, if one of you happens to pre-order the book and read it, maybe you'll pick up on that, and I would be very impressed and happy if you do. So Danny, I hope that you pre-order, and I hope that you come back and tell me on Twitter or in a comment on a video later if you figured out how I chose their names. Yeah, because I think that would be funny. But yeah, it's one of those very, very, very subtle things that like sometimes I like to put into things just to see if like people get it. But it's like, you know, it's like so subtle, like, because you don't want to like have like a Easter egg that's like everyone gets it, because then it's not really an Easter egg anymore. It's just a thing that's in your book. So you're always kind of riding the line between like nobody's gonna get it and a few people are gonna get it, which is what you hope happens. So that's how I chose the people's names. So yeah, just look at the names and put them all together and see if you can find something about them. Okay, cool. So a comment from Emma KK. I watched your motivational speech that you uploaded last night and it really motivated me. Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that. I uploaded a video yesterday, as maybe you guys have seen in your sub box, that is a full-length speech. I've never done this before. The reason being, most motivational speakers, as a rule, it is thought to be unwise to upload a full video of you speaking if you're a person who makes a living giving speeches that I do. Like, that's my actual job. Like, I make videos and I write books, but those aren't really how I pay the bills. I don't really like do those for money, nor do I necessarily make much money at all from YouTube or writing books. However, speaking is how I actually pay the bills. And so the problem with the potential problem of uploading a video, and I know speakers who have had big problems when they've had full-length videos either uploaded for free or they've like sold DVDs of their speeches, is number one, that like a group might be thinking about hiring you, but then they're like, well, instead of hiring this person, we'll just play their video. Like, we'll just put everybody in a room and play the video. That happens a lot, and is sort of a downside risk. And then also there's the risk that like a group that hires you might play the video like before, even though they hired you, they might play the video before you spoke, just to like get people excited about it, not realizing like, oh, you were going to give that speech. But I got to the point where that speech is a lot of that is material that I don't use anymore in that talk that I uploaded yesterday. So I felt comfortable that the latter wouldn't happen. So the former groups playing it instead of hiring me, I'm okay with that now. Like, I have enough inquiries, enough word of mouth, enough people asking me to speak, that I'm honestly totally fine if like teachers want to show it in their classrooms. Great. Like, and, they're not paying me the rights to do that. They're not buying anything from me. Totally fine. Like, I really want people to see that speech, because I'm really proud of it. And that material is stuff that I developed, over like 10 years. And in that sense, as a motivational speaker, that's kind of like my life's work. And I'm glad for more people to be able to see it. Although uploading it, I was very nervous, and I am still nervous about like, what is that the right decision? Is it not? Even just on YouTube, it's just a really long video, and not everybody wants to sit through a 40-minute video on YouTube. So I'm also just not sure if people are going to like it, but I'm really glad to hear, Emma, that you did like it. That helps me feel slightly more comfortable with the decision, and slightly more likely to not unlist it and leave it public. So we'll see. We'll see how people respond, but hopefully positively. Because yeah, it's just something I wanted to share with you, and sort of a Christmas gift to you all. So in case I unlist it, make sure if you're interested, make sure you watch it soon during the Christmas season, before I have second thoughts and unlist it. We'll see. Cool. Robert Kiyota. Robert, we'll just go with Robert. How did you come up with the idea for your book? It's an idea I had. Sort of the twist element of the book is something I mean, when I was a teenager, so maybe like 15 years ago, I was just like, this would be a cool story. So it's just like always been a thing in my mind that I thought like this is a story that should be told. And so then it was a very natural first novel for me to write. In a sense, like, not only was I interested in writing a book, and not only had I written 2 memoirs, so I felt like there wasn't much else to say about my life, so I needed to write a novel, but specifically this was a story that I felt like no one's told this story, and it should be told because it's cool and important for people to think about. So as to the actual origins of it, I'm not exactly sure. Mandy asks, generally, what is your writing process like? So, I mean, at least for this novel, I did a lot of research. And so I kind of had all these concepts about sight and perception and neurology and social behaviors towards people who are blind, and how people who are blind maybe feel about those behaviors. And then I kind of chose all the ones that I thought were interesting. So I had pages and pages of notes, and I'd go through basically of just notes from things I had read or whatever. And I would go through and kind of like highlight or circle parts that I were like, oh, I really want to convey this idea in the book, or I really want to convey this sort of fact or piece of trivia, about like science in the book. And so then I had all these things I really wanted to convey, and then it was kind of going back from there and thinking. So I had the overall arching story, right? I knew the guy, he's blind from birth, he's a teenager, he has an operation, he gains sight, he finds out that there was a secret that was kept from him. That was always like in place. And there's a romance, like that's all like part of it. So then it was like I have these ideas, and then what story things could happen, or like what narrative arcs could there be that would show this element, right? That would show, say like, in the first chapter, how like people always go up to blind people and are like, do you want to feel my face? Which is kind of weird. So like, like I want to show those things. So then it was a matter of then outlining. So I work from an outline. Not all fiction writers do. Some people just kind of write and see what happens. So I worked from an outline, and then it was building out the outline from there. And then so on a nuts and bolts level, when I write, I like to write first thing in the morning, get up, like not do anything other than eat breakfast, like not go online, no social media until I've done my writing for the day, which depending on where I'm writing, maybe it's like 1,000 words, maybe it's 2,000 words, but like I don't stop writing until like I've hit that for the day, and I edit as I go. So I write a page and then like read through it and edit a few times, write another page, read through and edit a few times. So hopefully that answers your question. If it didn't, Mandy, ask me another question if you had like a more specific question about my writing process. Cool. Mike, I hope that you are looking for that Easter egg, and I hope that you find it. Cool. Yeah, well, several of you commented that. Good. Well, I'm glad we had this talk. And the 17 of you who are watching will be looking for the Easter egg name of the character. Yassine says she'll be on lookout. Alex asks for my thoughts on atheism. That seems like one of those things that will make everyone watching angry, regardless of anything I would say. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and not answer that. I apologize. But if Alex, in all seriousness, if you really wanted my thoughts on atheism for some reason, and you pre-order the book, that could be your perk, like your personal vlog. Could be me giving you my thoughts on any subject you're interested in. But I don't think it's something I want to talk about on a live stream. Just Getting asks, going off what, off topic, I guess, said, were any of the characters' characteristics and personalities based off anyone you know? Not too much. I mean, like, in there was no one who I was like, oh, this character is this person I know with a different name, with a fictionalized name. There was no one like that where I was just like, yeah, I want to take this person I know and make them directly into a character. That said, it's really impossible almost to write characters who are not based somewhat on behavior or people you have seen, because otherwise how would you know that it's like a real way that humans might act? So in that sense, there are certainly elements of different characters in people I know, and also in a sense, like every character is probably some version of me, because it's coming from my imagination. So it's probably like everyone is like this part of my personality. It's like that that Amy Poehler movie. What was that called? Like the Disney movie that's like about her different emotions or different characters. Like probably I think to some degree that's how like my fiction is. It's like each character represents a different element of my personality, like the extroverted part and the introverted part and the insecure part and the like confident part. Like these are all different characters. It's just like all the different voices in my mind, except it's on paper. That makes me sound crazy. But yeah, that's a cool question, and not off topic. I think it's very relatable and a question people ask. Yeah, Mike, I'd love to come speak at your company. That would be cool. Schrodinger's, did you consider uploading it to YouTube Red? I don't know what you mean by that. Did you consider uploading it to YouTube Red? Not sure what you mean by that. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know what your question is actually. Okay, and then Emma says, thank you for mentioning a comment. Do you think you will come and visit London, United Kingdom? Yeah, I was just in London like 60 days ago, or no, November, October, no, 3 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago I was in London. So sorry I missed you, but Ashley were there and I were there. We went to Manchester to do some work with Manchester United, and we were in Scotland for our first year wedding anniversary, and then we were in London for a couple of days. Which, side note, is I think it's my favorite city in the world. So good job living there. I love visiting London. It's so fun, just so awesome, great vibes. John Deere, how is We Should Hang Out Sometime the movie going? Yeah, Inside Out. That's the movie I was thinking of. Thank you, Jessica. Oh, Schrodinger clarifies the motivational speech upload to YouTube Red. I don't know that that's a thing you can do. I mean, I could be wrong. I've never looked into it. I don't think you can just like upload to YouTube Red, like to make it exclusive to YouTube Red. Like any content I upload just to my channel is viewable by YouTube Red subscribers. In other words, if you have YouTube Red, you're watching it on YouTube Red when you watch it. I know that because like my analytics come through and says like how many regular people watched you, how many YouTube Red people watched this video. As far as like posting, content that's, sorry, the sun's shining right on me, messing up my contrast and annoying me. As far as posting something directly to and exclusively for YouTube Red, I don't think that's the thing you can just do. I could be totally wrong, but I've never seen that option. I think you have to like make a deal. Like you have to sell a show or a movie to YouTube Red. Does that make sense? For it to be an exclusive thing, it's not like you can just decide like I want to put something on YouTube Red. YouTube Red is more like a subscription-based service, right? It's more like Netflix in that sense, or internet option, or would be, it's like Fullscreen's subscription service or Rooster Teeth's subscription service, right? So they buy content from creators and then it's made exclusively for that platform. That said, to tie back into the question that John asked about the We Should Hang Out Sometime movie, like that's an example of something that could be on YouTube Red. Like you would sell them a script maybe or a show, and then they would like pay for the production of it, and then it would be on YouTube Red. Because We Should Hang Out Sometime the movie, now that's has been optioned and purchased by a studio, but that option like runs out at a certain point. So for example, if the studio that owns the rights right now to We Should Hang Out Sometime the movie, like if they don't make it during that time, then like we could take the script because there's a script now, it's not just an option. We could take the script to, like, YouTube Red is someone we would probably talk to about it. But hopefully the studio as it now will love the script and we'll make it. We'll see. As for your question about like, how it's going, the reason that's interesting is because I actually just finished reading the second draft of the script literally last night. I got it maybe a week or two ago from our screenwriter, whose name is Anna, who is so talented. Like the script, you guys, the script was so good. I used to have it on the shelf here, but Ashley was reading it too in the other room. I read it on my Kindle, but Ashley read actually like a printed out form of the script. It was so cool. Like it's so funny. It's just so funny. What, babe? Ashley agreed. She says it's so funny. So yeah, so it's like it's so funny. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to like tell you too much about it since it could change a lot or whatever in between now and when if it gets made. But that's where it is right now. It's like it's still optioned by the studio that optioned it a while ago. It's under development is the proper term, in that there's a script that's going back and forth. You wrote a first draft and then they changed some things and then wrote a second draft. So like then it would go back to the writer for a polish, and then you hope that after that they like it and they green light it. That of course is still a very low probability, but it could happen, which would be awesome. And I just think movies are so fascinating. I love movies, and I think it would be so cool, like so interesting to watch the process of a movie being made from behind the scenes. So that's how we should hang out sometime. The movie is going. And Josh Wood, who asked our very original question, things are coming back full circle now. As we end the video, Josh has returned to ask us another question about a HAPS tour in the future. That's a good, I thank you for pointing that out. I've never done a tour yet of our apartment. Unfortunately, right now you are on a webcam. I would love to show you, I would love to hold up a mirror to let you see yourself, but the webcam is on my computer, so I can't just pick up the webcam and walk around, so I can't do it right now. But yeah, hopefully sometime we can do a tour. I mean, here's my office, there's the books, there's my Harry Potter signs, there's where I meditate, on my sort of like a meditation, what do you call it, like a little cushion on a rug, and then there's a closet back there. That's my office. But yeah, the rest of the house, there's just like a bedroom over here and like a main room over there. But I'll show it. Joel says there's a 3D tour. Yeah, that's actually my old apartment, like where I lived before I got married, and then when Ashley and I got married, we lived there for a few months. That was in DC. We live in Los Angeles now, in Santa Monica, so we have a different apartment here. So there's no 3D tour yet of this apartment. And if there's any like really final things that you're like desperate to know before I sign off, throw them in the comments. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys hanging out here for a few minutes today. And once again, today is the last day to get perks. If you like, I'd be honored if you bought the book anytime, like a year from now or when it comes out in January or whatever. Totally awesome. But if you want to get perks, today is the last day to do so. So you can go to loveandfirstsight.com. There's a link in the underbar to loveandfirstsight.com. Go there, and you can get perks such as a video of me reading the first chapter of the book, a 180-page ebook of fiction that I have written, like 3 short stories that you can read on your phone or your Kindle or whatever you like to read on. If you order 2 or more copies of the book, you can get a Venn diagram about you that I will draw for you, and a personal vlog that I'll make for you. Boom, cool. So do that, loveandfirstsight.com. You have until midnight tonight to get that ordered. And if you have any other questions like about the perks or whatever, or the distribution or where to buy it, it's all on loveandfirstsight.com. All like pretty much any questions you have about it are on loveandfirstsight.com. Cool. Now, okay, so just like some final things you guys have said before we go. Okay. Anna asks, this is a controversial topic and maybe random, but what do you think of mental illness, and how do you think we can help people suffering from mental illness in the future? I mean, I don't know what element of it is controversial per se. I mean, I think as a society we've moved to a place where previously this wasn't true, that people like acknowledged mental illness as a thing, like even just in the language of it, right? People might previously would have said mental disorders, whereas now we say illness, right? Like that it's not like, oh, something about you is messed up. It's like there's a thing that is ill, and you could get treatment, and you should get treatment for it. So in that sense, I think we've made a lot of progress in terms of stigma about mental illness. I've certainly sought treatment for issues myself several times in my life, and taken both medication and had therapy. So I recommend that to anyone, because I think we can all benefit from therapy if it's a thing that's available to you, or you can go to your school counselor or whatever. That's a cool thing. All right, cool. So thanks to everyone who's been here. To Wappling, thank you for loving my humor, and Nelly also, and Christian, thanks for watching my videos. I hope you saw the video yesterday and last night of that I released. It's like the full-length video of my speech. And Maho's still here. Thanks for watching this whole hour-long stream. I appreciate that. And yeah, I really hope you guys like the book. So let me know, when you read it, I hope you like it. But let me know if you pre-order and you get the perks and you read the unpublished short stories. Send me a tweet or a message and let me know like what you think about those, and if there's any that you want to see turned into a novel. And that will help me determine what I want to write next. And I really appreciate you guys watching, and I really hope that you are able to pre-order a copy of the book. That would be awesome and very helpful and much appreciated. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching. We should hang out sometime.